Okay. So next topic which we are studying is surface tension. Surface tension means the top layer of liquid is there, top layer which is open to the atmosphere. That top layer, it behaves like a stretched membrane. For example, stretched membrane means you should have seen drums, no? How drums are able to produce sound? They have a stretched membrane. So when you strike the stretched membrane, it vibrates many times. And that vibrations are multiplied in the vacuum or empty space which is present inside the drum, and so sound will be produced. So it means this topmost surface of any liquid, it also behaves like a stretched membrane. So that property is called as surface tension. Okay, ma? So topmost layer of liquid behaves like a stretched membrane. Okay, ma? What is the reason for this one? Let us see. See, for example, we are taking two molecules of water. This is one molecule, this is another molecule. Okay? ఈ రౌండ్ వేసినానని చెప్పి ఎంతో బాడీ అనుకుంటారు మీరు. This is water molecule which I am discussing here. See, this water molecule is present inside water, no? So this water molecule will be experiencing forces because of other molecules in every direction. Clear, no? This water molecule will be attracted by this molecule, this molecule, this molecule, this molecule. So it is experiencing equal forces in every direction. So what happens to the net force? Net force becomes zero. Okay, though it is experiencing force, but all the forces are equal and opposite, no? So all the forces, they will get cancelled with each other. So because net force is zero, this molecule is free to move. If you supply even by taking energy at room temperature also, it is able to move freely inside this water. It can move wherever it likes. Okay, but if you see the molecule which is present on the top surface, this molecule, so it is experiencing force right side, left side and downwards. Clear, no? It means this force and this force and this force, these are the three forces which are acting, and they are not balanced by other forces. Are you able to understand, ma? You can say that these two forces are also balanced, but there is no force which is balancing this downward force. So therefore, every molecule which is present on the topmost surface, it is experiencing some net downward force. There is some net downward force, no, ma? So therefore, these molecules, they are not free to move. These molecules, they are free to move, no? They can move wherever they like. But the topmost molecules which are open to the atmosphere, they are not free to move. So all the molecules which are present on the topmost surface, they behave like as if a stretched membrane. They will be under tension. Okay, that property is exactly what is called as surface tension. Okay, ma? So write down. So what we write here, the molecules on topmost surface, the molecules on topmost surface, okay, ma? So experience a net downward force. Clear, no? They will experience a net downward force. Okay, so therefore all the molecules on the topmost surface, okay, ma, behave like a stretched membrane. Okay, so if you see all the molecules on the topmost surface, they will be like this. Okay, so these are the molecules which are present on topmost surface. So in between them, intermolecular forces will be present, no? Okay, ma? Between these molecules, what kind of forces are there? Intermolecular forces are present. Clear? These kind of forces are existing between them. Okay, and also they are experiencing some net downward force also. These are which kind of molecules I am taking? Only top molecules. Okay, ma? What are these molecules? Top surface molecules. Okay, they have intermolecular forces between them, and there is some net. All these molecules, they are experiencing downward force. So these molecules, they are not free to move. So only top surface behaves like a stretched membrane. Okay, if you want to do an experiment, you can do ma. For example, you can take water. Okay, you can take a glass of water, and you fill this water completely up to the brim. Brim means up to topmost surface you fill the water. Okay, then you start placing coins into this water. You start placing coins. Actually, what we expect that water will overflow, no? We expect water to overflow, no? Because already we have filled water up to the topmost level. Now, if I start adding coins into this one, we expect water to overflow, but overflow doesn't happen. Okay, even you place nearly some 36 to 40 coins, water will not overflow. Okay, what is the reason? Because this topmost surface of water, it will take this type of shape. Okay, but it will not overflow. What is the reason? Because intermolecular forces are present. No? Intermolecular forces are present between the topmost surfaces. Here also they are present, but they are balancing with each other. But here they are not balanced, they are unbalanced. Okay, and all the molecules, they are experiencing some downward force also. So because of that, even water will take up to this shape, the water doesn't overflow. After that, if you are one more coin, then small amount of water will overflow. So therefore, this property by which the topmost surface behaves like a stretched membrane, that property is called as surface tension. Is it clear, ma? Right now. Now let us see how to measure this surface tension. Measurement of surface tension. Okay. See, ma. So measurement of surface tension forces. See, for example, if I take this is top surface of a liquid, top surface of liquid. Top surface means for the liquid which is open to atmosphere, that is called as top surface. So in this top surface, let us suppose water is present on the top surface. Clear? Or this is the top surface of water. On this top surface, what I do is, I will draw an imaginary line. This is an imaginary line. Okay, ma? What is this line? This is an imaginary line. Okay. Now, adjacent to this imaginary line, water molecules will be present, no, ma? So here, 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 here. These are the water molecules which are present. Clear, no? Now these water molecules will be attracted by these molecules. No? Similarly, these molecules are also will be attracted by molecules on the other side. Okay. So therefore, how can I define surface tension? Surface tension is nothing but total force experienced by water molecules per unit length of the imaginary line, that is called as surface tension. Okay, ma? If I draw any imaginary line, the molecules on one side, they are experiencing how much force because of molecules which are present on the other side of the imaginary line. Okay, so that force divided by length of the imaginary line is called as surface tension. This is how we measure the surface tension of any liquid. Are you able to understand? So therefore, what is meant by F here? F is called force experienced by molecules by other side of molecules. Okay, and what is called L here? L is called as length of imaginary line. Length of imaginary line. So T is equals to F by L. That is the formula of surface tension. Clear, no, ma? So therefore, what will be its unit of surface tension, ma? Unit of force is Newton, unit of length is meter, so Newton per meter. So surface tension T is equals to F by L, so Newton per meter is the unit of surface tension. Is it clear, no? That is called as surface tension. Okay. Now I will give you one, similarly, Sima, for example, let us do one more example. For example, if this is a water tank, in which water is present, and let us consider this is water. Okay, ma? So on top surface of water, consider a needle is floating. On top surface of water, what is floating, ma? A small rod or any needle is floating. Okay. Length of this rod is how much? Length of this rod is L. Surface tension of this water is T. Surface tension of water is how much, ma? Let it be T. Length of the rod is L. Okay. And what is the mass of the rod? Mass of the rod is M. So question is, find the minimum force required to just lift the rod upwards. That is the question. Okay, ma? So I want to lift this rod out of water. Okay, ma? Then what is the minimum amount of force I have to apply? That is the question. Okay, come on. Student. See, my question is that I want to lift this rod just out of water. Then how much minimum force I have to apply? See, ma. So if I look from this side, this rod appears like this, no, ma? Clear, no? If I look from this side, rod is a cylinder. It appears cylindrical in shape. So by applying some force, I want to lift this rod upwards. Immediately, if I try to lift the rod, see, ma, for example, if this is the top surface of liquid, rod is present like this, no? Rod is present like this. So rod will be attached to water molecules on both sides, no? Clear, no, ma? Rod will be attached to water molecules on both sides. Rod will have two surfaces, no, ma? This side also it is attached to water molecules. On the other side also it is attached to water molecules. Clear, no? So when I try to lift this rod upwards, initially what happens is some of the water molecules also they move along with water. This is what happens to మీరు రాడ్ని కొంచెం అట్లా పైకి తీసేటప్పుడు వాటర్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ కూడా దానికి అటాచ్ అయి ఉంటాయి కదా, బికాస్ దెర్ విల్ బి స్ట్రాంగ్ ఇంటర్మాలిక్యులర్ ఫోర్సెస్ బిట్వీన్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఆఫ్ ద రాడ్ అండ్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఆఫ్ వాటర్. సో వెన్ యూ స్టార్ట్ లిఫ్టింగ్ దెమ్ అప్వర్డ్స్, వాటర్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఆల్సో విల్ మూవ్. And water molecules are exerting force on this rod, no? That force is nothing but force because of surface tension forces. ఆ ఫోర్సెస్నే కదా సర్ఫేస్ టెన్షన్ ఫోర్సెస్ అనేది మనం క్లియర్ నమ్మా. And on one side also surface tension forces are acting, on the other side also surface tension forces are acting. Both sides they are acting. See, ma, these molecules they are trying to pull total this side of the rod downwards, no? Clear, no? Similarly on the other side also all these molecules they are trying to pull the rod downwards. So therefore surface tension forces are acting on both sides of the rod. But if we have taken imaginary line has only one length. So its total length is L only. But here rod's effective length is 2L. Rod's effective length is how much, ma? 2L. Why it is 2L? Because forces are acting on both sides. Are you able to understand? So T is equal to F by L. What is meant by L? L is the length of the rod on which forces are acting. But here forces are acting on both sides. Ide vargu isnara. Okay, ma? So this is the length of the rod which is acting on both sides. So length will become double. Or we can say forces are acting on both sides. Clear? And in addition to that, weight of the rod is also present, no? Mass of the rod is M, no, ma? So what is the weight of the rod? Weight of the rod is mc. So therefore, three forces are pulling the rod downwards. And how much force you have to apply? You have to apply an equal and opposite force. Then only I can lift the rod upwards without any acceleration. Clear? So therefore, what is the force I have to apply? Ft plus Ft plus mg. This is my answer. Is it clear, ma? So therefore, total applied force is Ft, or I can write 2Ft multiplied by plus mg. Okay. So force is nothing but T into L, no, ma? If T is equal to F by L, F is equal to T into L. So therefore 2 into, instead of F I can write T into L plus mg. Okay, ma? So this is the force which I have to apply so that I can lift this rod upwards. That is my answer. Have you understood? అర్థమవుతున్నాయి కదా? So the force of attraction are existing between the rod and the water molecules. So those water molecules are trying to pull the rod downwards, and those forces are exactly what is called as forces due to surface tension. Is it clear? That's it. But if the same rod is present inside water, then surface tension forces will not act. Because every molecule is attracting the rod, no, net force will become zero. Is it clear? These molecules will show effect only when rod is present on the topmost surface. Fine? That's it. Make a note. Sima. So here, same formula I can write like this also. See very carefully. 2T into L plus mg I got, no? This formula I can write T into 2L plus mg. Can I write? T into 2L plus mg. I can write, no? It means I am taking surface tension one time, length of the rod to be double. Are you able to understand? Surface tension is acting, but length of the rod is how much? Double. Because surface tension forces are acting on two sides. So effective length is 2L. Or same formula I can write 2T into L plus mg. I can write like this also, no? Now what is the meaning of this one? If I take a length to be only 1, then surface tension will become double. Like this also you can take. Are you able to understand? If I take a length to be only L, then surface tension forces are becoming double. Why? Because again forces are acting on two sides. So therefore here what is the point we have to write? A point is that, so for this rod, okay ma? For this rod, effective length is how much? Effective length is 2L. Effective length is 2L. Okay. Now I will give you one more question. Try to answer it. Find the minimum force required. Find the minimum force required, okay, to lift a ring of radius R and mass M just out of water, of surface tension T, that is the question. Okay, try to answer it. Okay, Sima. So find the minimum force required to lift a ring of radius R and mass M just out of water. Surface tension of water is T. Okay, ma? So this is a tank in which water is present, and in this water there is a ring which is placed like this, ring. Okay. Now this ring I want to lift out of water. Okay, ma? Sima, ring means it will have two surfaces, no? It will have one inner surface also, it will have one outer surface also. Clear, no? Definitely there will be some thickness, no? Thickness cannot be zero, no? If thickness is zero, a ring doesn't exist. Thickness must be there. So there will be one inner radius, there will be one outer radius. But inner radius and outer radius, you can consider both of them to be same. Okay? So if I lift this ring upwards, what happens is the water molecules which are touching on one surface, they will pull this ring downwards. It means surface tension forces are acting on one side. Similarly, there is inner surface also, no? So that is also in contact with the water molecules, no? So those water molecules also, they will pull the ring in which direction? Pull the ring in downwards direction. So there is one more surface tension force which is acting. And in addition to both of them, weight of the ring is also acting, no? Weight of the ring is also acting. So just like rod condition. Okay. So therefore, what is the net force I have to pull it? Net force or applied force is how much? Applied force is nothing but Ft plus mg. Okay. So this is also 2Ft plus mg. Okay, ma? So 2 into F is nothing but T into L, nama, plus mg. Now here what is meant by length of this ring? Length of the ring is nothing but circumference of the ring, 2 pi r. Okay, ma? So therefore 2 into T into 2 pi r plus mg. That's all. This is my answer. Okay. Okay. Sima. So here question is that a glass plate of length 10 centimeter, breadth 1.54 centimeter, and thickness 0.2 centimeter has a particular mass of 8.2 grams in air. So this is held vertically with a long side horizontal and lower half under water. Okay, ma? Then find the equivalent weight of plate. Equivalent weight is nothing but apparent weight of the plate. Okay, ma? Apparent weight of plate. Okay. Sima. So here, first of all, let us draw this plate, ma. So this is a plate. Okay. Plate has some thickness also, no? So plate is just like a cuboid. What is the length of this plate? Length of this plate is 10 centimeter. Okay, ma. Width of this plate is how much? Breadth is 1.54. And this is thickness, ma. Thickness is how much? 0.2 centimeter. And what is the breadth of this plate? Breadth of this plate is 1.54 centimeter. So this is the given plate. Okay. Now this plate, it is immersed in water, ma. So therefore this plate, it is immersed in water. How it is immersed? It is immersed such that only half of the plate is inside water and half of the plate is outside water. So this can be the possible diagram, no? Clear, no? And also it is immersed in which manner? Sima, length and breadth, they are different. So we are keeping the longest side to be horizontal. Which is the longest side? 10 centimeter is the longest side, no? So that side is kept horizontal and only half of the plate is present inside water. So long side is horizontal. Clear? And lower half is present under water. These are the two conditions. Now we are supposed to calculate what is the apparent weight of the plate. W apparent. How can I calculate? Can you say anybody? W, actual weight minus force of buoyancy. Surface tension forces are also there, Nama. See, if I just try to pull this plate out of water, surface tension forces will pull the plate downwards, no? Okay. So therefore, what are the different forces which are acting? Different forces which are acting are, okay, surface tension forces, are they acting in upwards direction or downwards direction? That we have to see. Okay. Let us see what he has considered, ma. ఇది పైకి వెళ్తుందా లోపలికి పోతుందా అనేది కూడా చూడాలి. See, in this question, this person is trying to lift the plate in upwards direction. So if he tries to lift the plate in upwards direction, immediately surface tension forces will pull the plate in downwards direction. So therefore, if you take the free body diagram of this plate, free body diagram, how many forces are acting? Its own weight W is acting downwards. Plate weight W is acting downwards. If I try to lift the plate upwards, then surface tension forces will act downwards. No? If I try to lift the plate upwards, it means surface tension forces are pulling the plate downwards. And force of buoyancy it is acting in upward direction. No? If you place any body in liquid or a fluid, it always exerts a force of buoyancy. So these are the different forces which are acting on this body. Okay. So therefore, how can you calculate its apparent weight? So apparent weight I can calculate like this, no ma? Weight plus Ft, because these two are acting in same direction, no? And minus of force of buoyancy. Why minus of force of buoyancy? Because force of buoyancy is acting in opposite direction. Okay. Now let us see how I can calculate surface tension forces. Surface tension forces T into L only, no ma? Now can you say what is L value here? L value is how much? First of all, you make a note up to here, ma. We will rub the board and we will write neatly. First make a note of same. So here what is meant by L, ma? L means that length where water molecules are touching. Okay. Water molecules, they are touching this side, no? They are touching this side, no ma? And what is that length? So L I can call it as 0.2. Here also water molecules are touching. No? Similarly, water molecules are touching lengthwise also. No? So plus additional length is 10. But on the other side also it is touching. No? And this side also it is touching. Are you able to understand? Plate has two sides, no ma? So on the front side there is one length, back side also there is one length. Similarly, here there is one width, here also there is one width. It means these two, if I multiply by 2, this is the total length where water molecules are touching. Ante. Ee length the water molecules ekka touch avta unnai re. We are supposed to take water molecules touching the plate which are open to the atmosphere. Where surface tension forces are acting? Only on the surface where it is open to atmosphere. No? Are you able to understand? Ma? See, ma, for example, this is the plate which is immersed in water. Okay? Half of the mobile is inside water and longest side is inside water. And half of the plate is outside water. So where water molecules are touching? Water molecules are touching here, no? Water molecules are touching here also, no? Water molecules are touching like this, no? Water molecules are touching at the back also. Okay? So breadth is how much? Breadth is 0.2. Length is how much? 10. How many lengths are there? 2 lengths are there. How many breadths are there? 2 breadths are there. So therefore 2 into 0.2 plus 10. That is L value. Are you able to understand how we should take L value? Clear, ma? So therefore surface tension is how much? Surface tension is T value how much he gave, ma? 7.3 into 10 power minus 2 na 3 na? Minus 2. Multiplied by 2 into 10.2. If you calculate this one, this is the total surface tension forces which are acting. Is it clear? Okay. So surface tension I have calculated now. Now let us go for force of buoyancy. Okay, ma? Force of buoyancy. How to calculate force of buoyancy, ma? Rho L VL into G. That's all. No? So force of buoyancy is rho L VL multiplied by G. Density of liquid is how much? Everything he gave in centimeters, no, ma? Let us see answer he calculated in centimeters or what? Answer he calculated in meters only we have to calculate, ma. So therefore, because surface tension is given in SI system, no. So 10.2 into, they are given in centimeter, no. So I will write 10 power minus 2. 10 power minus 2. Is it clear? Similarly, now see, force of buoyancy, rho L VLG, density of liquid 1000. Volume of plate dissolved is how much? Volume of plate immersed inside water is how much? What is meant by VL? Volume of liquid displaced, no? Volume of liquid displaced is nothing but volume of body inside water. How much volume is present inside water? Half is present inside, half is present outside. So therefore, can I write total volume divided by 2? That's all, no? Multiplied by G value. So 1000 multiplied by total volume is how much, ma? Length into breadth into height only, no? What is length? Length is 10, breadth is 0.2, height is 1.54. Multiplied by, because I have to write in meters, 10 power minus 2 divided by 2. And what is G value? G value is, he has to take 9.8, no, ma? 9.8. If you calculate this one, I will get force of buoyancy. Okay. Actual weight of the body is already given, no? So just substitute in this equation, I will get the apparent weight of the body. Is it clear, ma, how we have calculated? Very, very simple calculation, but you need to understand the parameters very, very carefully. Okay. So surface tension you should get is 14.89 into 10 power minus 3. 14.89 into 10 power minus 3. This is the surface tension force. Okay, ma? And force of buoyancy which you should get is 15.09 into 10 power minus 3. Okay. So therefore apparent weight what you should get 80.16 into 10 power minus 3. One 80.16 into 10 power minus 3 Newton. Okay, ma? So these are the answers which you should get. Fine. Are you able to understand, ma? weight plus surface tension minus force of buoyancy. Weight is acting downwards, surface tension also will act in downwards direction if I try to pull the plate in upward direction. But the force of buoyancy is always acting in upward direction. That is the apparent weight of the body. Clear? Okay. Sima. So the next concept of surface tension which we are studying is surface energy. Okay. So yesterday in the last class what we have studied, if you look at the top surface, clear ma? This is the top surface of liquid where molecules are present. So we have studied in between these molecules, interatomic forces will be present, no? Clear no? Interatomic or intermolecular forces will be present between them. Is it clear? And also these molecules, they are experiencing some net downward force also. This is what we discussed, no? So therefore, if I want to increase the gap between them or the separation between them. So what is meant by increasing separation between them? That is, if I want to increase the area of the top surface of the liquid. Okay, ma? For example, in a tank of water, consider there is some water. Okay, ma? So if a cylinder is in the form of this tank is in the form of a cylinder, then what will be its surface area? Surface area will be pi r square, no? So if tank is in the shape of a cylinder, area of cross section is pi r square. It means this top surface also, it will be having how much area? It will be having an area of pi r square. Clear, no? So if I want to increase that area, definitely I have to oppose the intermolecular and interatomic forces, no? I have to increase the distance between the molecules. It means I have to oppose these forces. Okay? So therefore, the amount of work done to increase the surface area divided by total increase in area, that is called as surface energy. Okay? So to increase the gap between the molecules, definitely we have to do some work. That work will be stored as surface energy on the top surface of the liquid. Again, by using which concept we are saying this? Law of conservation of energy. What is law of conservation of energy? The work which you do, it should be converted into some another form of energy. So the work which we are doing to increase the surface area, that will be stored as the surface energy of the top surface of the liquid. Okay, ma? So that work which I am doing divided by what is the increase in area, that is called as surface energy. Okay, and the beautiful part is that this surface energy is again numerically equal to surface tension itself. Are you able to understand? So there is some proof for that one. We are not going to that proof. So just write the statement. Okay, ma? So what is the note point here I have to write? Note point is that, okay, ma? Sigma. Sigma means what? Surface energy. Okay, ma? Sigma is numerically equal to what? Equal to surface tension. Are you able to understand? So therefore, how can I write the equation? Equation I can write like this. Okay. So therefore, I can write sigma is equal to work done per change in area. This is equals to surface tension. I can write like this. Okay. Or you can write like this also. T into delta A is nothing but work done. So we can write like this also. Okay. So proof is there. We are not going to the proof. I don't think it is necessary. We will do some problems on this one. Okay. So see this question, ma. So calculate the work done against surface tension forces in blowing a soap bubble of diameter 1 centimeter. Okay, ma. And the surface tension of the soap solution is given 2.5 into 10 power minus 2 Newton per meter. Okay. So can you say how can I do this calculation? So here what is the work I am doing, can you say? Em work chestunam ikkada? What work we are doing? We are not increasing area, we are creating total area. Initially there was no area. Are you able to understand, ma? Initial area is how much? 0. Finally, we are supposed to blow a soap bubble of diameter 1 centimeter. Soap bubble means, you know, no, ma? You will be blowing soap bubbles, no? Okay. Now can you say what is the surface area of a soap bubble? Surface area of a soap bubble. To increase area only, we are discussing. We are not discussing about work done to increase the total volume of the bubble. Are we discussing that? We are discussing only increase in surface area. Okay. So what is the surface area of a soap bubble? Surface area. 2 pi r. Pi r square. That is the area of a circle. I am asking, soap bubble is a sphere, no? Volume of a, surface area of a sphere formula. Surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r square. This is the formula. Volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Surface area is 4 pi r square. Okay. But I say that this formula in this condition is not correct. This is not the increase in surface area. Why? So increase in surface area means what? Increase in surface area is nothing but final area minus initial area, no? Increase means what? Final value minus initial value. So final value minus initial value, if I write 4 pi r square minus 0, then it is not correct. What can be the reason? What is the reason? This is a very, very important discussion. Surface area formula of a sphere 4 pi r square only. But in this condition, it is not correct. What is the reason? Chapandi. Soap bubble means what, ma? Soap bubble means what? Soap bubble means soap bubble. And thing soap bubble ante soap bubble and Japandi. Soap bubble. Clear, no? But the point is that soap bubble has how many surfaces, ma? Soap bubble has 2 surfaces which are open to the atmosphere. Okay, ma? Soap bubble, it is a layer of liquid, ma. So here if you see this thickness, this soap solution has a particular thickness also. So a group of layer of molecules will be present in that small thickness. Are you able to understand? It means that surface tension forces, they are not only acting on the outside surface, surface tension forces are acting on the inside surfaces also. Why? Because, see ma, if you see the thickness of this soap bubble will be thick like this. So in between this soap molecules will be present. Okay. So this is the outer surface, no? So outer surface, is it open to the atmosphere or not? Definitely open to the atmosphere. So surface tension forces are acting on the outside. And inner surface also it is open to atmosphere, no? Inner surface also, molecules are absent, no? Here also. It means this layer is also experiencing surface tension forces. So if you are increasing the area of the soap bubble, you are not increasing only one area, you are increasing 2 areas. What are the 2 areas? One inner area and one outer area. What we have studied about surface tension forces? The liquid surface which is open to the atmosphere. That liquid surface behaves like a stretched membrane. Okay? Because the molecules which are completely immersed in water, present inside, they don't experience a net force. But the molecules which are present on the surface, they will be experiencing net force. Same concept here also. So the molecules which are present in the outer surface, they are attracted by downward forces, no? Okay, ma? They are not free to move because net force is acting on them. Similarly, the molecules which are present on the inner surface, they are also not bound by every molecule, no? They are bound by molecules only on one side. On the other side, it is not bound. So here also surface tension forces are acting. Okay. So therefore, if you are blowing the soap bubble, you are not increasing area one time, but you are increasing the area 2 times. So multiplied by 2 I have to write. Then my equation becomes correct. Is it clear, ma? So therefore, what is the increase in surface area? 2 into 4 pi r square minus 0, which is equals to 8 pi r square. So this is the total increase in surface area. Are you able to understand? So make a note point here. Note point is that in a soap bubble, we need to increase surface area both on inside and outside. So total increase is double. total increase in surface area is how much ma? It is double. Okay. Total increase in surface area will be double to that of single surface because it is having two surfaces. So therefore, now can't you calculate what he is asking actually work done? So what is the relation between work done, surface tension and increase in area? What is the relation? Just now we have studied, no? Sigma is equals to surface tension is equals to work done divided by increase in area or change in area. So therefore, what is the work done? Work done is equals to surface tension multiplied by increase in area. Surface tension is how much? Surface tension is 2.5 multiplied by 10 power minus 2. Increase in area is how much? 8 pi r square. So 8 into pi into what is the radius of the soap bubble? We are increasing up to a diameter of 1 centimeter. Okay. So instead of radius I can write d, no? D by 2 whole square. 8 pi r square. 8 pi into r by d by 2 whole square. Clear, no? Then diameter is how much? 1 centimeter, no? So diameter is equals to 1 into 10 power minus 2 meters. So substitute this value here, then you will get the work done. Okay? And the answer which you should get is 1.57 into 10 power minus 4 joules. Okay? So 1.57 into 10 power minus 4 joules. So that is the work done to blow a soap bubble. Is it clear? Let's see. Okay, now see. So find the energy required or liberated when 64 drops of water combine to form a bigger drop. That is the question. Clear, man? So there are 64 drops of water. They will combine together to form a bigger drop. That is the condition. So first of all, the point is that whether energy is liberated or whether energy is required, that I don't know. In which condition energy is required, ma? In which condition energy is required means what? We have to supply energy. Okay? In which condition we have to supply energy and in which condition we will get energy. ఇక్కడ బాండ్స్ లేవు, కెమికల్ బాండింగ్ కాదు. When you increase the surface area, you require to spend energy. You have to supply energy. What is the opposite statement of it? When surface area decreases, energy will be released. That is the meaning of it. Are you able to understand? So this is a first point which you should remember. So therefore what happens? Finally, if surface area increases, okay ma, energy is to be supplied. Okay ma, we have to supply energy. What is the opposite statement of it? If surface area decreases finally, then energy will be released. Energy will be released. Are you able to understand? Clear, Nama? Okay. So therefore, how can I calculate whether finally surface area has increased or decreased? That I don't know. No? But when 64 drops are combining to form a bigger drop, there is one common point between them. What is that? When 64 drops, when 64 drops are combining to form a bigger drop, there is one common point. Volume of liquid remains same, no? Volume of 64 drops and volume of bigger drop equal. Volume of liquid, will it change? Volume of liquid never changes, no? Surface area may increase or decrease, that is a different concept. Volume of liquid never changes. So therefore what I write? Volume of 64 drops, okay ma, is equal to volume of bigger drop. Is equal to volume of bigger drop. This point I can write. Okay. So what is the raindrops or these water drops? They are spheres only, Nama. So what is the formula of volume of a sphere? So 64 into 4 by 3 pi small r cube This is equals to only one single drop is formed, so 4 by 3 pi capital R cube. Okay. Now what is small r and what is capital R? Small r is the radius of smaller sphere, capital R is the radius of bigger sphere. Okay. So 4 by 3 pi get cancelled. So therefore R is equals to cube root of 64 into R cube. This is what I can write. Clear now? So cube root of 64, 4 fours are 16, 16 fours are 64. So 4R, this is what I will get, 4R. Clear now? So what is the radius of bigger sphere? Radius of the bigger sphere is only 4 times the radius of smaller sphere. But how many drops we are combining? 64 drops we are combining. But bigger drop radius has become only 4 times the radius of the smaller drops. Is it clear? Now let us calculate the surface area. Clear now? We will compare the combined surface area of smaller drops and combined surface area of bigger drop. Then we will get an idea whether surface area has increased or decreased. Clear now? So initially what we have? Initially we have 64 drops now. So therefore surface area of 64 drops is how much? This is equals to surface area formula ma? నేను చెప్పాను క్లాస్ వెళ్ళిపోతే ఇప్పుడే కదరా చెప్పింది నేను 4 pi r square. So 64 into 4 pi small r square. That's all now. This is the surface area of any sphere. Okay. So 64 fours are 6 fours are 24, 240, 256 are 256 pi r square. Clear no? So this is the combined surface area of smaller drops. Clear no? Now you take surface area of bigger drop. Okay. Surface area of bigger drop. Okay. So it is only one drop only, no? So directly 4 pi capital R square. So 4 pi capital R square. But capital R value is how much? 4R. So substitute here. So therefore if I do the calculation, it is 4 pi into 4R whole square. So 4 fours are 16, 16 fours are 64. So 64 pi small r, no this one, 64 pi small r square. Okay. So this is the surface area of bigger drop. But what was our initial surface area? 256 pi r square. Final surface area 64 pi r square. Surface area has increased or decreased? Surface area has decreased, no ma? So therefore energy will be released or energy will be absorbed. Energy will be released because surface area has reduced, no? So this point always you should bear in mind, ma. Whenever drops combine to become a bigger drop, energy is always released. And energy will be released in the form of which energy? Muscular energy, heat energy, light energy, which energy? Only heat energy only. Are you able to understand? So therefore what we write? Therefore we write that. Clear? So note point write down. Note point is that whenever small drops combine to form a bigger drop, surface area reduces. And energy is liberated. And vice versa. And what is meant by vice versa? What is the opposite statement of this one? If a bigger drop separates into smaller drops, surface area increases and you have to do some extra work. This is the vice versa statement. Are you able to understand, ma? That's it. So therefore now can't I calculate actually what he is asking, ma? Energy released, no? So therefore surface tension is nothing but work done divided by change in area. So work done is nothing but what? Work done is nothing but delta A multiplied by T. This is the energy released. So change in area Final area is how much? 250, sorry. Okay, any value you can write because we want only change only, no? So 256 pi r square minus 64 pi r square multiplied by surface tension. Clear number? So this is the amount of energy which is released. Okay. And if you know the surface tension value, just you can substitute that one and you will get the answer. Okay. So 256 minus 64, 190, 196, 196. Do the calculation. 192. So 192 pi r square multiplied by T. That is the amount of energy which is released. Clear? That's it. Okay. So now let us see this question. So these are two parallel voids. Okay, two parallel voids in which a soap film was formed. So చిన్నప్పుడు ఆడుకుని ఉంటారు కదా మీరు. So if you take any this type of structure, dip it in soap solution and take it, a film will be formed. And if you blow that film, bubble will be formed. So that is the type of construction given here. So in between these two voids, a soap film was formed. So this is a soap film. Okay, a soap film is formed. Soap film. Okay. So then what I am doing? So calculate the work required to increase 1 mm distance between the voids. Clear number? It means I want to increase the separation between these voids. By how much distance? It means, for example, I will place this what you call wire downwards by 1 mm distance. I will pull this wire by a distance of 1 mm downwards. Then the distance has increased by 1 mm number. Now what he is asking us to find out, calculate the work required. Okay, so already we know the formula, surface tension is equals to work divided by change in area number. Therefore what is work done? Work done is nothing but tension, surface tension multiplied by change in area. Okay, now surface tension already he gave 72 into 10 power minus 3. Change in area, how can I calculate? Change in area, how can I calculate? Change in area is how much? Sima, this is original area, no? This is the original area. Which is the increase in area? Increase in area is what? Increase in area is only this much, no? This is the increase in area. Clear? How to calculate this area? Length into breadth, that's all. Clear, no? What is the length of this wire? 10 centimeter. So surface tension is how much? It is 72 multiplied by 10 power minus 3 multiplied by area 10 centimeter. 10 into 10 power minus 2 meter. Because everything I have to convert into SI system, no? Because surface tension is given in SI system. Clear number? And what is the width of this one? Width of this one is only 1 millimeter, no? 1 millimeter again, how you can write? 1 into 10 power minus 3 meter. That's how this is my work done. Is it clear? And we have done one more mistake here. What is that? This is not the answer. One mistake we have done. Area? Into 4. Sima, this film has 2 areas, not 4 areas. So film means what? Again, it is a layer of liquid only, no? So it is open to the atmosphere on 2 sides. On the outer surface also, on the back side surface also. So if you are increasing the area, you are increasing the area 2 times. On the front side, on the back side. Clear, no? So therefore, change in area multiplied by 2. So therefore, this total value I have to multiply by 2. Now you will get the answer. Clear, no? So therefore, the amount of work done is, just do this calculation, 72 into 2 is 144. And you see how many zeros you have to place. Okay. So the given answer is 144 into 10 power minus 7. 144 into 10 power minus 7 joules. That is my answer. Clear, ma? లేదంటే నీతో రికార్డ్ చేస్తా క్లాస్ చూడండి మా. So excess pressure due to curved liquid surfaces. Okay, see my example is soap bubble. Soap bubble is a soap bubble, soap bubble, soap bubble, soap bubble. This is a soap bubble, no ma? And this is a curved surface only, no? Okay, water drop is a curved surface. Similarly, air bubbles will be formed inside water, no ma? So that is also a curved surface. Because of curved surfaces, always there will be some extra pressure. Okay, what is the reason? Let us see. See ma, for example, if you take this is a flat surface. On the flat surface, for example, this is one water molecule. Surface tension forces are acting like this, no ma? Because it's a flat surface, the molecule which is present on this side will be pulling this molecule to the right side, and the molecule which is present on the left side, that will be pulling the molecule towards the left side. Okay, so therefore, for example, if I take 2 points, point A and point B, exactly above this molecule and below this molecule. Okay, for example, if I take a point A here and one point B here, okay ma, then almost I can say that pressure at point B must be equal to pressure at point B. And what are those two pressures? They are nothing but atmospheric pressures. That's all, no? So at point A, which pressure is acting? Atmospheric pressure. And everywhere in the liquid also atmospheric pressure will be acting, no? So at point B also, which pressure will be acting? Atmospheric pressure only. Because height of the liquid column is almost zero, no? Height of the liquid column is not there. So I am taking only one molecule. Above the molecule, below the molecule, pressure remains to be same. Clear? But if you take this curved surface, for example, a drop of water, okay ma? For example, if you take one molecule here, this molecule will be pulled by surface tension forces in a curved fashion. So like this surface tension forces will be acting, no? Because it is a curved surface. Are you able to understand, ma? One molecule will be here, one molecule will be here. So this molecule is attracting the drop in this direction, and this molecule is attracting the drop in this direction. So therefore, surface tension forces are also acting in a curved fashion. So therefore, these surface tension forces, if I split them into two components, I can split like this, no? I can split like this. This is how we can split vectors, no? So this is one force, this is another surface tension force. Clear, ma? Force due to surface tension, force due to surface tension. So therefore, this component and this component, they get cancelled with each other. These are two opposite components, no? This component is towards left side, this component is towards the right side. So both of them, they get cancelled with each other. But if you see these two components, they are not getting cancelled with each other, but they are getting added up with each other. Are you able to understand? Which components? These two components, vertically downward components, they are not getting cancelled, no ma? They are getting added up with each other. Is it clear? So this force due to surface tension, this force due to surface tension, I can write this is the net force which is acting, no? Net 2Ft I can write, for example. Okay ma? So these two forces, what it is doing, they are trying to destroy the shape of this water molecule, or trying to destroy the shape of this water drop. Why it is trying to destroy the shape of this water drop? Because it is pulling this water molecule downwards, no ma? See, this is the net force, no? What is this net force doing on this molecule? Trying to pull the molecule downwards. Similarly, here if you take one more molecule, on this molecule also surface tension forces will be there, no? They are also trying to pull the molecule towards the center. Clear, no? Similarly, if there is one more molecule here, this is also experiencing some net force towards the center of this molecule, no ma? Are you able to understand? So what all these molecules, what all these forces they are doing, they are trying to compress the water drop. Are you able to understand? So it is just like if you take a football, on this football, if forces are applied perpendicular in every direction, what happens to the volume of the football? Volume of the football reduces. Same thing surface tension forces also they are doing here. Are you able to understand, ma? Clear? Because surface tension forces are not acting in a straight line, just like here, so there is some net downward force, or there is a net force acting towards the center. And it is not acting on one molecule, no, it is acting on every molecule which are present on the surface. Are you able to understand? Because of that, this water drop, it tries to compress. Okay? And if you compress any body, what happens to the pressure inside that body? Pressure increases. So therefore, the reason is, inside every water drop, there must be some extra pressure. when compared to the pressure to the surroundings. Are you able to understand me? So because all these molecules, their surface tension forces are compressing the drop, so inside of this drop, pressure increases. So when you compare to atmospheric pressure, pressure inside the water drop will be always greater. So that extra pressure developed is called as extra pressure due to or excess pressure due to curved liquid surfaces. Is it clear? Let us take the example of air bubble. Okay, ma? So inside water, air bubbles will be formed, no? Let us study about them. Okay. Now see here. So this is one molecule which I am taking. Okay, ma? So this molecule is pulled in this direction and this molecule is also pulled in this direction. So this is a force due to surface tension. Okay, ma? And this is also force due to surface tension. Okay. So because of these two also, there is a net force which is acting in this direction, no? F net or 2FT I can write, just like this. Are you able to understand? And what this net force is doing? So this net forces again they are acting on every side of the bubble, no? Okay, ma? So they are also trying to compress the volume of this air bubble. So automatically what happens to the pressure inside that air bubble? Pressure inside that air bubble will increase. Understood, no? So right. So let us write a small statements about this. First you make a diagram of this one. Okay, ma. So therefore, what we write, we will write some reasoning for this one, ma. Okay. So, note point. Surface tension forces. Surface tension forces try to destroy the shape of soap bubble, comma, water drop or liquid drop, anything, and air bubble. Okay, ma? These forces try to compress the above structures. Okay, so an excess pressure develops on the concave side. This is an important point. So excess pressure develops on which side, ma? On the concave side, not on the convex side. Okay. See, ma, extra pressure is present inside this water drop, no? So here extra pressure is present. And to this point, this behaves like a concave surface only, no? Clear, no? Similarly, extra pressure is present in this air bubble. So excess pressure is inside the air bubble here. So and to this point, this is behaving like a concave surface only. So excess pressure is always present on which side? Concave side, not on the convex side. Clear, no? This point you should be very careful. Okay. So extra pressure is always present. Okay, ma? So therefore, for example, let us write. Okay. So consider this is a soap bubble. So here pressure is PA, here pressure is PB. Okay, ma? What is this one? This is a soap bubble. Okay. So definitely I can say that PA will be greater than PB, no, ma? When you compare pressure on the concave side and when you compare pressure on the outside surface, definitely inside pressure will be greater than outside points. Clear, no? And this difference in pressure, PA minus PB, is called excess pressure. PA minus PB is called what, ma? Excess pressure. The pressure which is greater when compared to the outside points. Clear, no? And this PA minus PB is called P excess. This is equals to 4T divided by R. This is a formula whose derivation we are not studying. Just remember the formula. Clear, no, ma? So excess pressure inside a soap bubble, what is the formula, ma? 4T divided by R. where T is called as surface tension, R is called as radius of this soap bubble. Clear? Similarly, we will write extra pressure or excess pressure inside water drop. Okay? In the case of water drop, P excess. P excess means again same concept, PA minus PB. P excess is equals to 2T divided by R. Similarly, in air bubble inside water, so P excess is equals to 2T divided by R. That's all. These are the formulae which you are supposed to remember. Is it clear, ma? So, soap bubble has two surfaces, no, ma? So, that is why surface tension also will become double, 4T by R. Okay? Water drop has how many surfaces? Water drop. Only one surface which is open to the atmosphere. Inside water is present, no? So, only one surface. Because it is having only one surface, 2T by R. Similarly, air bubble also, only inside surface is open to the atmosphere, outside water is present. So, therefore, here also it is 2T by R. So, these are the excess pressure formula. Clear? So, remember up to here, we will continue off. Sima, this is one question. So, two balloons are connected by a pipe, and there is a valve present here. We can open and close this valve. Clear, no? So, surface tension of this balloon is T. Surface tension of this balloon is also T. Balloon is also a kind of... okay, no. Okay, ma? So, balloon is also a type of liquid only, no? Balloon is also a type of liquid only. You can consider like this. Okay? So, therefore, this is a bigger balloon and this is a smaller balloon. We are tying both of them to this pipe and we are opening this valve. Then the question is that air enters from which balloon to which balloon? Can you say? Huh? After. Okay, ma. So see now. So excess pressure inside the balloon, what is the formula? See, ma, this is a balloon, no? Balloon means how many surfaces? Two surfaces, one inner surface, one outer surface. So what is the equation of excess pressure inside a balloon? Excess pressure is 4T divided by R, no, ma? So in a soap solution, in a balloon, all of them formula is 4T by R. Because soap solution also has two surfaces, balloon also has two surfaces. So therefore, here one thing, surface tension is same in both of them, no? So this balloon material and this balloon material, they are same. So therefore, surface tension forces remain to be same. Now, if I see, if T is a constant, then excess pressure is inversely proportional to radius, no? This is what we understand, no? Scientifically, ఆలోచించాలి కొండ జాతి ఆన్సర్లు కాదు మనకు కావాల్సింది. ప్రెషర్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ వాట్. ఇప్పుడే కదా ప్రెషర్ ఫార్ములా చెప్పింది నేను మరి. సో ఎక్సెస్ ప్రెషర్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ వాట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇన్వర్స్లీ ప్రపోర్షనల్ టు రేడియస్. క్లియర్ నమ్మా? ఇఫ్ సర్ఫేస్ టెన్షన్ ఫోర్సెస్, ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ సేమ్. సో T is a constant, no, for both of them. Clear? So therefore, if radius is smaller, pressure will be greater. So therefore, this is a balloon of smaller radius, no? So in this balloon here, pressure will be greater when compared to pressure here. So it means that air enters from smaller balloon to bigger balloon. This is what is happens. Okay, ma? Until the pressure in both balloons become equal, this continuation of air will continue from smaller balloon to bigger balloon. Okay, so this becomes more and more smaller, this becomes more and more bigger. Until which condition? Until pressures in both of them remain same. Pressure is decided by what? Pressure is decided by the velocity of air molecules, no? So here, as air flows, the number of air molecules reduces. So pressure automatically reduces. Here number of air molecules increase. So pressure also will increase. Are you able to understand, ma? So there will be a condition of equilibrium where pressure in both of them remain to be same. Until that condition, air continues to flow from smaller balloon to bigger balloon. That is the meaning of it. Okay, right on. Sima, let us see this concept. Listen very carefully, Sima. So these are two bubbles, soap bubbles. This is a smaller bubble, this is a bigger bubble. Clear, no, ma? So both of them, they are approaching each other. Okay, they are coming towards each other and they will join together. They are not bursting, they are joining together. That's it. Clear, no? Now here, in which bubble there will be extra pressure? Ma? Excess pressure is present in both of them, but excess pressure is maximum in which of it? So in a smaller bubble, definitely pressure will be greater, excess pressure will be greater when compared to bigger bubble. What is the reason? Already we discussed, excess pressure is inversely proportional to radius. Clear, no? So if radius is smaller, then that bubble will have maximum radius. So therefore, when they join together, then this is the type of combination which you can see. Okay. So radius of smaller bubble is R1, radius of bigger bubble is R2. But pressure in smaller bubble is greater than pressure in bigger bubble, no? So therefore, a concave surface will be formed towards the smaller bubble. Because already we studied that on which side pressure will be greater, concave side or convex side? Concave side pressure will be greater, no? So therefore, concave side will be formed towards the smaller bubble. Okay? Because here what is the pressure existing? Here pressure is PA, excess pressure. How much it is? 4T divided by R1. Clear, no? And on the convex side, here what is the pressure existing? It is PB, which is equals to 4T divided by R2. Clear, no? So therefore, this contact surface will form another shape of the radius of curvature, whose radius of curvature is represented by R. Okay, ma? What is meant by R here? R is the radius of the contact surface which is created. Okay, and this R is different from R1 and different from R2. Bigger than R1, smaller than R2. That will be the radius of the contact surface which will be formed. And concave surface will form on which side? Concave surface will form on smaller bubble side. Because here pressure should be greater, no? Here pressure should be smaller. Are you able to understand, ma? And how can I calculate the excess pressure existing on this side? Here pressure is 40 by R1, no? Here pressure is 40 by R2. So just take the difference of them. Clear, no? So 40 by R1 minus 40 by R2 will become now the excess pressure, new excess pressure. New excess pressure in the combination, and excess pressure is on which side? Concave side, in the smaller bubble. Are you able to understand? So the new radius of contact surface created, I will call it as small R. Therefore, and on this side, what is the new excess pressure? That is PA minus PB only, no? Which is again is equal to 40 by R. And what is this R? This R is the radius of the contact surface. Clear, no? Radius of smaller bubble is different. Radius of bigger bubble is different. Radius of contact surface is different. Okay. So therefore, excess pressure PA minus PB, 40 by R1 minus 40 by R2. Excess pressure formula 40 by R only, because again this surface has two surfaces, no? Outer surface, inner surface. So 40 by R. So 40 get cancelled. So this is the relation which I got. 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. What is R here? R is the radius of the contact surface. R1 is the radius of the smaller bubble. R2 is the radius of the bigger bubble. That's it. Clear, ma? Right. Okay. Now see, ma. So angle of contact. Next concept. See, ma. See, ma, when you take water in a test tube, this is the shape of water which you will find. No? If you take a tank of water, you cannot see. Test tube. Small test tube and fill it with water, then you can see this concave shape present on the surface of water. Okay. Similarly, if you take a test tube of mercury, then mercury will form this kind of shape, convex shape. What is the reason for this one? Reason for this one is the magnitude of cohesive forces and adhesive forces. Okay, so write down. So what is the reason for this shapes, ma? Reason for different shapes is, so it is the magnitude of cohesive and adhesive forces. Okay, ma? So magnitude of cohesive and adhesive forces decides the shape of the meniscus. This is called, scientific name is called meniscus. Ma. Shape is called meniscus, liquid meniscus. So here shape of the liquid meniscus is concave. Here shape of the liquid meniscus is convex. Okay. Now what is the reason for this one? Let us see. First of all, we have to define what is meant by cohesive forces and what is meant by adhesive forces. So what is meant by cohesive forces, ma? Forces existing between attractive forces existing between similar molecules. Similar molecules. Similar molecules means if I take two water molecules, what is the force of attraction between them? Cohesive force. Clear? Adhesive force means what? Attraction force existing between two dissimilar molecules. Dissimilar molecules. Example of dissimilar molecules, ma? See, I am writing with this pen on this board. Board molecules are different, ink molecules are different. But there is force of attraction between them, no? Then only I am able to write on them. Are you able to understand? This force between dissimilar molecules is called as adhesive force. Okay? On a bottle of gums, it will be written adhesive. Fevicol bottle paina em rasi untundi? Adhesive ani rasi, cohesive ani rasi undadu. It will be written as adhesive. Adhesive means what? It means it can bind any two dissimilar type of materials, different materials. Are you able to understand, ma? Now see, for example, this is a tank of water, ma? Let us consider. Now we take one molecule which is present on the topmost surface and which is in contact with this beaker. Okay? Then this molecule, it will experience how many forces? It will experience, clear, ma? So F adhesive force. Adhesive force. Adhesive force between what and what? This water molecule is experiencing adhesive force because of glass. Glass molecule is there, no? Glass molecule will be attracting the water molecule. Clear, no? Same water molecule, it will be experiencing cohesive forces because of other water molecules in every direction. Same water molecule is surrounded by many other water molecules. Those water molecules are also, they are pulling this water molecule. So the net force will be in which direction? Net force will be in this direction. Clear, Nama? So what is this one? This is F cohesive. Okay? Force of attraction between water molecules is cohesive force only, no? Because water molecules are same type of molecules, cohesive force. And this cohesive force, if I split this one into two components, okay, ma? Then this will become F cohesive horizontal. This will become F cohesive vertical. Can I write like this? Okay, ma? I can split into two components, ma? Cohesive force. So horizontal cohesive force, vertical cohesive force. Okay. So therefore, shape of the liquid meniscus, depends on what? Depends on, okay, magnitudes of F adhesive and F cohesive horizontal. Okay, ma? FCH means what, ma? F cohesive horizontal. Are you able to understand? So shape of the liquid meniscus, whether it is concave shape or convex shape, depends on what? It depends on only these two forces. Which two forces? One is F adhesive force and the second one is F cohesive horizontal force. And it will be in which direction? This will be the direction of F cohesive horizontal. Are you able to understand? Now let us write case number 1. So case number 1 is F adhesive is greater than F cohesive horizontal. Adhesive forces are greater than cohesive horizontal forces. Then what happens is, then liquid will take concave meniscus. Concave meniscus. Clear, ma? It means shape of the liquid will be like this. This will be the shape of the liquid. Are you able to understand? So it means which shape is this? Concave shape only, no? So concave shape will exist in which condition? If force of attraction between glass or container and water molecules is greater when compared to force of attraction between water molecules. Okay? Water molecules madhyalo na attraction kanna glass ki water molecule ki attraction ekku undanukondi, then automatically liquid will form this type of shape, concave meniscus. Okay? Now I hope you can write the second case, no? What is case number 2? Case number 2 is what, no? case number 2 is, okay, so if cohesive horizontal or forces are greater than adhesive forces, then the liquid will form which kind of shape? Liquid will take, okay, convex meniscus. Okay, so shape of the liquid will be like this, concave meniscus. And example of this condition is water, and example of this condition is mercury. You should have seen mercury tested, this thermometers, no? In thermometer bulb, this is the shape which you will see. This shape you will see. Thermometer bulb lo ee shape untundi mercury. But if you take water in a test tube, water will be of this shape. Reason you have understood, no? Huh? So if adhesive forces are stronger than cohesive horizontal forces, liquid will form concave meniscus, and exactly opposite statement. Okay, that's it. So, Seema. So now we have studied what is the effect of adhesive forces and cohesive horizontal forces. Now, so what is meant by angle of contact? Angle of contact is nothing but the angle between the liquid surface and inner vertical surface of the container. That angle is called as what you call angle of contact. Okay. So for a concave surface of liquid, this will be the shape of the liquid, no? So this is how you have to draw a tangent. If you draw a tangent, tangent to what? Tangent to shape of the liquid meniscus. Okay. Then that angle made by the tangent with inner surface of the container, that is called as angle of contact. Okay. So this is what kind of liquid meniscus? Concave. So angle theta is less than 90 degrees. Less than 90 degrees means what kind of angle? Acute angle. So if it is acute angle and meniscus is concave meniscus, then what is the meaning of this one? Adhesive forces are greater than cohesive horizontal forces. It means it is water. Okay, ma? Similarly, if you take mercury, then convex meniscus will be present. No? Now if you draw a tangent to the convex meniscus, this will be the tangent. And angle always you have to take with what? With the vertical inner surface of the container. Now if you take this theta, this is greater than 90. No? Greater than 90 means which angle? Obtuse angle. Obtuse angle means meniscus is what kind of meniscus? Convex meniscus. Convex meniscus means what? Adhesive forces are lesser than cohesive horizontal forces. Okay, ma? See, ma, in between mercury molecules, force of attraction will be very strong. So that is why cohesive forces are very large when compared to adhesive forces. So that is why mercury will form this type of shape. Understood, ma? This is called as angle of contact. Definition, be careful, ma. Angle made by liquid surface with inner vertical surface of the container. That is called as angle of contact. If theta is less than 90, it means definitely it is acute angle. If it is acute angle, it means it is concave meniscus. If it is concave meniscus, it means that adhesive forces are greater than cohesive horizontal forces. This is what you have to understand. Okay? Right on. Seema. So the next important topic which we are discussing is capillary rise. Seema. So what is meant by capillary, ma, first of all? Capillary means test tube of very small thickness. Okay, ma? So test tube whose thickness is very, very small. And a test tube we cannot say, ma, just you can call it as a tube, that's it. Okay? Tube of very small thickness. And it is not closed on one side, ma, it is open on both the sides. That is called as a capillary. Okay? It is open on lower side also, it is open on upper side also, it is called as a capillary. Okay? Now see. See, ma, if you place a capillary inside water, you will see that the level of water rises in this capillary. Okay? So capillary rise in the gadani in the tube betti rise avarante kudaradu. Only in capillaries only you will find this rise. Okay? And what is the capillary rise? Capillary rise is H here. Okay? Similarly, if you place same capillary in mercury, you will find the level of mercury will go down. So this is capillary fall. Okay. In the case of water, there is a rise of water level. In the case of mercury, there is a fall of mercury level. What is the reason for this one? We will study. Okay. So, for example, this is a magnified image of this capillary. And what is the shape of the liquid meniscus that will form? Water always form concave meniscus, no? No. Now what I do is, I will take 3 points. Okay. So this is point A. And exactly below that I will take point B. Okay. And here I will take a point C. So these are the 3 points which I am taking. And we will try to understand what is happening here with the help of these 3 points. Okay. Now see. So point A and point C, both of them, they are at the same height. No? And almost point B is also at the same height. It is just below the liquid surface. No? So pressure will be, liquid column height is 0. Height of the liquid column is not there. No? Okay. But can you say, what can you say about pressures at point A and point B? Are they equal? Are they not equal? Which one is greater? Which one is smaller? Can you say? Equal. But they are not equal. Okay, ma? Pressure at point A is not equal to pressure at point B. What is the reason? Because point A is present on which side? Concave side. Point A is present on concave side. On the concave side, definitely pressure will be greater, no? Already we discussed, no? So therefore, what do I write? I write here, point A is present on which side? Point A is on the concave side. Okay, ma? So definitely I can say that pressure at point A must be greater than pressure at point B. Is it clear? Listen very carefully. Then what about pressure at point A? Pressure at point A is nothing but atmospheric pressure, no? Pressure at point A is what kind of pressure? Atmospheric pressure, because it is open to atmosphere. Point A ekkada undi, atmosphere lo undi kada. So atmospheric pressure is acting. It also means that pressure at point B is less than atmospheric pressure. Is it clear? Between A and B, whose pressure is greater? A. At A, which pressure? Atmospheric pressure. It means pressure at point B is less than atmospheric pressure. No? Clear? Okay. And what about the point C, ma? Where point C is present? Point C is present on the liquid surface. Point C is present on the liquid surface. And on the liquid surface, which pressure? Atmospheric pressure. So here also, atmospheric pressure is acting. Clear? And one more point which I see is that C and B, both of them, they are at same height, no? Point C and point B, almost they are at the same height. So one more point which I note down is that points C and B are at same height. Okay. So according to Pascal's law, if 2 points are at the same height, pressure should be equal, no? Correct, no? What is Pascal's law? First statement of Pascal is what? If 2 points are at the same height, pressures must be equal. But are they equal? At point C, which pressure? At point B? Less than atmospheric pressure. Which pressure is greater? Pressure at point C is greater when compared to pressure at point B. So if pressure difference is there, what happens? If pressure difference is there, water enters from higher pressure region to lower pressure region. Okay, ma? So therefore what happens? Level of this liquid will rise. Level of the liquid will rise. Are you able to understand the sequence of steps, ma, what is happening? You need to understand this theory part, ma, because questions can be asked on theory also. Okay? Otherwise, just by hitting formulas, I don't think we can do this concept. Okay, so right. So points C and B are at same height, but pressures are not equal. Pressures are not equal. Which pressure is greater? Pressure at point C is greater than pressure at point B. Okay? But according to Pascal's law, what should happen? But according to Pascal's law, pressure should be equal. Pressures should be equal. Where? Equal at point C and point B. Okay. So water enters from high pressure region to low pressure region. Okay, ma? Water enters from which region to which region? Ma? It enters from high pressure region to low pressure region. Are you able to understand? Clear, na? It means from high pressure region, water continuously enters into low pressure region. So therefore, again, what is the diagram now I have to draw? Okay. So therefore, what happens? So water level continues to rise. Water level continues to rise until the excess pressure means, which mean bit points, ma? PC minus PB is balanced by pressure due to liquid column. Pressure due to liquid column. Okay, ma? So therefore, what is the new diagram I have to draw? New diagram is like this. Okay. So this is water. Okay, ma? And here water level has risen up to here. Okay. Now where are these points? Here I have point A, and here I have point C, and here I have point B. Now I can say pressure at point C is equal to pressure at point B. Okay, ma'am? Is it clear? So here PA is greater than PB, no, ma'am? And PC is also greater than PB. Are you able to understand? So therefore, what is the excess pressure at point A? Excess pressure at point A is 2T by R, no, ma'am? Excess pressure at point A will be how much? 2T by R. Why 2T by R? Because only one surface is open to atmosphere, no? So 2T by R. So this excess pressure is balanced by height of the liquid column. Is it clear? So in the capillary, what is the height of the liquid column which has raised, ma? H is the height of the liquid column. Is it clear? So therefore I say, okay, 2T by R is balanced by 2T by R is balanced by whom? It is balanced by rho Hg. Okay. So 2T by R is equals to rho Hg. So this is a very important relation. Okay. So are you able to understand what is happening? Okay. Fine, no? Now let us try to understand it once again. First make a note up to here. Okay, now let us see. We will discuss it once again, ma. See what is happening here. See, ma. So A and B, they are at the same height, no? A and B almost they are at the same height. But at point A, pressure is greater when compared to point B. Okay. Why pressure difference is there? Because point A is present on the concave side, point B is present on the convex side. So pressure difference between A and B is how much, ma? PA minus PB is nothing but 2T by R, no? Clear? Already we discussed, no? Because of concave shape of the water, pressure difference will be 2T by R. Okay. So, and pressure at point A is equals to pressure at point C, and both of them is equal to atmospheric pressure, no? Point A is present in atmosphere. Point C is also present in atmosphere. So at both of them, what is the pressure which is acting? Atmospheric pressure. So therefore, instead of PA, I can write PC also, no? I can write a PC minus PB is equal to 2T by R. I can write like this also. Because A and C, both of them, same pressure is acting. So therefore, between point C and point B, there is a pressure difference of 2T by R. But that is not possible, because Pascal's law should be always satisfied. No? What is Pascal's law? If 2 points are at the same height, pressure difference must be equal. But at point B, pressure is less by 2T by R. So what happens? What happens is, this extra pressure 2T by R will be compensated by the rise of liquid. Liquid level rises. And a liquid level rises up to which height? Because of this liquid, an additional pressure will be created, no? Pressure due to liquid column. Pressure due to liquid column is how much? Rho Hg. This Rho Hg balances the deficit in pressure, which is 2T by R. At point B, pressure is less by how much value? 2T by R. Is it clear now? That 2T by R is balanced by Rho Hg. Now again you will see that at point C and point B, pressures are equal. Now pressures have become equal. Is it clear? So make a note of these points. Okay. PA is equals to PC is equal to P atmosphere. PA minus PB is 2T by R. So PC minus PB is also 2T by R. Okay. Now this 2T by R is balanced by whom? It is balanced by Rho Hg. So 2T by R balances Rho Hg. Fine, ma? అసలు వాటర్ కాలం ఎందుకు పెరుగుతుందో అర్థమైంది కదా. సో క్వశ్చన్స్ కెన్ బి ఆస్క్డ్ ఆన్ దట్. సో కేర్ఫుల్లీ ప్రాక్టీస్ ఇట్. ఓకే. నౌ వాట్ ఈస్ మెంట్ బై హెచ్ హియర్? హెచ్ ఈస్ క్యాపిలరీ రైస్. హెచ్ ఈస్ క్యాపిలరీ రైస్. కంప్లీటెడ్ మా? సో దేర్ ఫోర్ what we write that, okay. So 2T by R is equals to rho Hg. So therefore H value is how much, ma? 2T by rho Rg. So this is a relation to calculate height of the liquid column, okay. Or this H you can also call it as capillary rise. Capillary rise. And the same formula you can use in the case of mercury also. In mercury, mercury level falls down, no? And for again same condition, you can use the same formula, 2T by rho capital R into G. Okay. And what is meant by R here? R is called as radius of what? Radius of liquid meniscus. You should not be confused here. Radius of liquid meniscus. What is meant by radius of liquid meniscus? Sima, listen very carefully. So here, what is the shape of the liquid form? This is the shape of the liquid form, Nama. If this one, if you complete it in the form of a circle, then this radius of the circle is called as capital R. 2T by R means radius of the liquid meniscus only, no? Capital R. Capital R means radius of the liquid meniscus. It means this shape of the liquid, if you complete in the form of a sphere, then that radius of the sphere is called as capital R. Fine. Same formula I can write in terms of radius of the capillary also. Okay. Completed now up to here. So now let us see relation between capital R and small r. Okay, ma? What is capital R? Radius of liquid meniscus. Okay, ma? What is small r? Radius of capillary. Radius of capillary tube. Capillary tube also will have certain radius, no? That radius is called as small r. Understood now? Now if I draw this capillary here, okay, what is the shape of the liquid meniscus? This will be the shape of the liquid meniscus. Okay, ma? And if you complete this one in the form of a circle, this is the circle which you form. Understood, ma? And this is the radius of this circle, which is called as capital R. Understood, no? And what is this distance? This is called as small r. Okay, ma? Small r means what, ma? Radius of the capillary tube, where capital R is the radius of the liquid meniscus which is formed. Don't be confused here. Because if you get confused here, you will not understand which formula to use. Okay, everything depends on what is meant by small r and what is meant by capital R. So write down up to here. Okay, ma? Now see. So what is this angle theta, ma? Angle of contact. Angle between liquid meniscus and inside of the surface, inside of the vessel. So theta is called as angle of contact. Okay. Now see. So if this is the angle of contact, what is this angle, ma? This angle will be how much? 90 degrees. Because this is a circle and this is a tangent to a circle. So definitely this angle is 90. So if this angle is 90, what is this angle? This angle is 90 minus theta. Because this is theta, this is 90, this is 90 minus theta. If you add both of them, it should be 180, no? Because angle in a straight line, 180. If this is 90 minus theta, what is this angle? 90. What is this angle? Theta. Understood, no? Is it clear, ma? Draw a bigger picture. Draw a bigger picture of that so that you can understand what is happening. Clear, Nama, what is happening? Clear, no? So this is theta, 90, 90 minus theta, 90 theta. Okay. So therefore, what is the figure which is formed here? The figure which is formed is this one. So this is r, this is theta, this is small r. So split this capital R into two components, ma? Okay. So then this becomes r cos theta and this becomes r sin theta. So therefore, can I write that small r is equals to r cos theta? Definitely I can write, no? Small r is equals to r cos theta. Therefore, what is capital R? Capital R is r by cos theta. R by cos theta. So take this, are you able to see? Okay, ma? So take this capital R and substitute in this formula. Then I will get another formula. Are you able to understand, ma? So therefore, now what I will get? So h is equals to 2t divided by rho. Instead of capital R, I can write r by cos theta multiplied by g. So h is equals to 2t cos theta divided by rho small r into g. This is my formula. Okay, ma? So this is my second formula to calculate capillary rise or capillary fall in a test tube. Is it clear, ma? One formula is in terms of capital R. One formula is in terms of small r. Fine? That's it. So here what is small r? Radius of capillary tube. Radius of capillary tube. Okay, ma? It means water in the capillary, it will rise up to this much of height. 2t cos theta by rho into small r into g. Okay. T is surface tension, theta is angle of contact, rho is density of liquid, r is the radius of the capillary. Fine? Okay. So write down the next concept which is called. Huh? Right. Clear, ma? So capillary of enta indra time 11 ki 11 ki 5 minutes unda. Oh, avunu kada. Okay. Capillary of insufficient length. Okay, ma? So what is meant by capillary of insufficient length? See, ma, for liquid meniscus to rise, liquid level to rise, this is the height up to which liquid level rises, no? What is the formula? Height of, or we can say rise of liquid level is how much? Rise or fall of liquid level. Or just you can write capillary rise or capillary fall is 2t by rho rg, or you can write 2t cos theta divided by rho small r into g. This is the formula, no? So it means minimum what is the height of the tube I require? Minimum this much height of capillary I require, no, above the water level. above the water level, how much length of the capillary I require? Minimum this much. So if I place capillary less than this height, then what will happen? Water will overflow, but water never overflows. Pressure గురించి నేను మాట్లాడటం లేదు. Are able to understand what is happening? See ma. So this is height of the liquid level, no, in the capillary, 2t by rho capital Rg, 2t cos theta by rho small rg. Okay ma? It means above the water level, what should be the minimum height of the capillary tube? This is the minimum height of the capillary tube. But what is the length of capillary tube I am placing? It is less than the required level. Then what happens? That we are going to discuss. Okay ma? For example, if h value is 10 centimeter, so length of capillary above water level is only 8 centimeter. Okay, water will rise to 10 centimeter, but what is the length of the capillary I am taking? Only 8 centimeter. Then what happens is, then water or liquid does not overflow. It appears as if it overflows, no ma, but overflow does not happen. Okay, if overflow happens, it is against the law of conservation of energy. It means you are not using any energy and still water is flowing. That is not possible. What happens is that, now let us see what happens. Okay ma? So water level, first of all, this point you should understand. Water does not flow, does not overflow. Water does not overflow. Then what happens? Let us see. So you take this formula, H is equals to 2T divided by rho Rg. Here which are the constants? Ma? T is a constant, no? Rho is a constant, no? G is a constant, no? 2 is already a constant. So what are the terms which are not a constant here? Height of the liquid column or capillary rise and radius of the liquid meniscus. These two, they are not constant. So therefore, can I write H is inversely proportional to R? R, can I write HR is a constant? Okay. R, can I write H1 R1 is equals to H2 R2 is equals to H3 R3? I can write like this, no? So what do you understand here? What I understand is, if H value decreases, R value will increase. That's all. Okay. If height of the tube which I am taking, capillary tube, if it is not sufficient, then what happens to the radius of the liquid meniscus? Radius of the liquid meniscus increases. Okay. As you continuously reduce the length, radius continuously increases. If radius increases, it means that flatness is increasing or decreasing? Flatness is increasing. So that is, the shape of the liquid meniscus will become more and more flatter. That is what happens when I take a capillary of insufficient length. Okay. Therefore, what happens if height of capillary is continuously decreased? Height of capillary is continuously decreased. Okay, ma? Then what happens? Radius of meniscus, radius of liquid meniscus continuously increases. Continuously increases. That is, flatness of meniscus increases. This is what happens when you place a capillary of insufficient length. But the point is that overflow does not happen. Liquid never overflows. Understood, Nama? Okay. And if I try to draw a diagram of this one, completed, Nama? If I try to draw a diagram, this is how I can draw the diagram. Okay. So for example, this is a tank. This is the level of water. Okay, ma? So this is one capillary. This is another capillary of same thickness. This is another capillary of same thickness. So in the first one, radius of the liquid meniscus will be this much, R1. Okay, ma? Okay. In the second one, the radius of the liquid meniscus increases, R2. Radius has increased, no ma? And in the third one, radius further increases. This is R3. Okay. Capillary length is decreasing, no? So flatness of the curve is increasing. Therefore, I can say R3 is greater than R2 is greater than R1. Okay, ma? This height is H3. This height is H2. This height is H1. H1 is greater than H2 is greater than H3. This is what happens when you place capillary of insufficient length. అర్థమవుతుంది కదమ్మా? That's it.